What up? What up? Woo, woo, woo. It is the wolf. Let's do that camera thing. What's up, guys? It's the bad wolf. It's getting a little dark in here. Shall we illuminate? There we are. What's going on? What's going on? All right. So, this particular video is going to be about jurisdictional challenges, what courts are supposed to do versus what they actually do. All right. So as always, I want to thank every one of you guys for supporting me. We are almost at 80,000. I was hoping that we would have been there probably about 6, 7 months ago, but hey, we're getting there nonetheless. So I appreciate you guys for helping to make it happen. Let's see if I can adjust this camera here. All right, all right. So even for me, at times, we do run into jurisdictional or challenges or get what's known as railroaded in court. Okay. Another name for this is also called a kangaroo court. What does that really mean? What it means is that the judge and the prosecutor, who are really on the same side, they're both bar members, okay? They conspire to basically run over your rights and ignore you. And the thing about it is that they can, because in the moment, might makes right. Now, this is very, very frustrating. All right. Generally, the way I set things up, I don't usually have to deal with that, but every once in a while it does pop up. And including even most recently with somebody that is working with me. And this sucks, absolutely sucks, because you have to go through their BS. And if you play the game and they're just out for you, almost no matter what you're going to do, you're going to lose. Even if you have a great lawyer, the lawyer is still subject in that courtroom to the judge. Now, we all know that the clerk is actually the one with the real power there because they're the ones who actually file the things. But the clerk is generally afraid of the judge and goes, well, that's the judge's rule. Yeah, but they're the ones who actually file. You have the power. They have the power. You can be like, yeah, well, we're going to go this way. This isn't right. But they generally don't realize that they have that kind of power. So, especially when I should really say when dealing with a magistrate versus a judge. But um, so the hard part is that if they want to railroad you, they are going to. Now, what we've seen is that at the end of the day, what do they want to do? They want money from you. So if you're smart and you're battling them and you're winning, and they decided to go, I'm going to take my ball and go home, you're pretty much just ass out. But because they want money, they know that you'll probably then appeal it and get a lawyer. And is this the right thing to do? In some cases, yes. Because what happens is then the lawyer or attorney, whoever you got, is going to then go, well, hey, buddy, I'm a member of the bar. Let's work this out. We're all making money here. Let's not, make this difficult. And then they talk their little backdoor stuff. And then miraculously, things that you already tried to do get done. They want the money. So is there remedy behind that? And can you appeal? Yes, you can appeal on your own. Now, one of the things that transpired with me and this particular person is that there should have been no reason that the judge did what they did. We had all the information, whatever else, but we found out that they suppressed some of the evidence. In this particular court case, she had proven that there was no resisting arrest with the body cam video that they didn't send right away. But then in court, they suppressed the audio. What kind of sick stuff is that? But still, yet you could see that there was no resisting. The cop basically was like, well, you're being detained. Well, am I being arrested? Or what? Now, in this particular scenario, resisting arrest really is resisting a physical situation or scenario. They can try to argue that you didn't listen to what I told you, but at the same time, it's understanding that sometimes there are differences in overstanding certain verbal communications, not being clear, etc. But if a cop asks you to not do something, you should comply with that. However, on the federal court, Supreme Court have ruled that if it's unlawful, you do have the right to resist. You do have the right to not listen to an unlawful order. However, I would urge you to be careful in that you can't just scream that, oh, this is unlawful, and then just run or do something crazy. Give them your 5 or 10 minutes because that is what the law says that they have the right to do to ascertain if you're doing something criminal, if there's a criminal complaint, and if they know the law. Now, in this particular case, we challenged one particular word and we got part of the case dropped, but the courts decided to be petty and to go after the secondary charge of resisting arrest, which they like to throw in there, just because they want to try to throw and stick as much against you as possible. To me, this is BS, and they're escalating the stop. And at this point in time, because they already dropped the primary charge, the second charge doesn't even apply. But they railroaded this person anyway. But see, that's okay. Now, it sucks because this person has to deal with the scenarios, and because this particular person does have a fiery disposition and made things worse upon themselves, unfortunately, not knowing how to play the game the best way, which is one of the reasons why I'm going to be doing the seminars on dealing with court and these scenarios. All right. Because there's a certain way you have to play this game. All right. So we're dealing with that. And once that has concluded, this person will be able to file a federal district court lawsuit for deprivation of rights, due process, being railroaded, etc. But in general, this is how you should what they're supposed to do, and then what they actually do, and then also how to force the court to address the jurisdiction, because generally they don't have jurisdiction. But let's get into it. As always, guys, I thank you for watching. I appreciate all those people who support me on Black Site 32, to donate. Remember, guys, there are a lot of people out there pretending to be me or whoever else out on these platforms. It is almost never going to be me. I don't care if they have my pictures. The moment that they start asking for money, it's not me. The moment they're in your inbox, it's not me. Everything I do is done through Black Site 32, jamesclovett.com, and Badwolf Unincorporated. I have probably about 5 or 6 other YouTube channels, but my main other two are Badwolf Media Channel and Badwolf Unlimited. That's it. Okay, so 3 main channels. Those are the only ones on there. And once again, I will never ask you guys for money or donations or anything or crypto or whatever through even my own group on Telegram or on my TikTok channel or whatever else. Even here, I'm not saying to go through blacksite32.com, jameslovett.com, badwolfunincorporated.com. That is it. If it's not on there, it ain't me. Okay. So you guys should be smart enough to know that when somebody is asking you for money or giving you praise, I don't have time for that. I would love to. I see right now so many people doing this on their own, using my information, combinations thereof, and getting successes in court, in life, and improving their life. And that is beautiful. That is fire. Spit hot fire. Dylan, Dylan, Dylan. Oh, okay, never mind. So I do appreciate you guys, and I do see some of it. And it's almost overwhelming for me. I never thought in my life that this day would come. So I do appreciate you guys. And if you stand out or stick out and I see you, great. If I can get to you, awesome. Don't be mad that if I don't answer your questions, I just don't have time. And it's a lot of times I don't even see them. I get thousands of emails at this point in time now across all my platforms. I pick out, a couple, some of them who are, supporting me in my community section on YouTube. People who support me with the monthly subscription of join the Wolf Pack. Thank you for that. I try to get to those people first. I can't get up to all of them. I'm sorry. I wish I could. Even if I was wealthy and I had all day to just answer 8 messages, I still don't think I could get to all of them. But keep doing what you're doing and know that I appreciate you. And if you support me, then I send blessings out to you guys. All right. So I'm going to let my AI read some scripted work. Shot goes out to, we'll call him JG for presenting this information. And I'm going to let the AI read this. So let me make sure that. Okay, it should record. If for some reason you guys do not hear the commentary that I'm about to play, let me know. Then I'll have to redo this video, but this should be heard. But sometimes Zoom acts funny if you're sharing the screen and playing things. So here we go.
Jurisdictional challenges. What courts are supposed to do versus what they actually do. One of the biggest issues I see with jurisdictional challenges is that courts routinely fail to process them correctly. Under proper legal procedure, once a jurisdictional challenge is submitted, all proceedings must stop until jurisdiction is proven. Key facts about jurisdictional challenges. Heavy checkmark, the court cannot proceed with any hearings, rulings, or motions until jurisdiction is established. Heavy checkmark, the court itself cannot determine its own jurisdiction. This requires a separate tribunal or an evidentiary hearing to either establish or deny jurisdiction. Heavy checkmark, if a jurisdictional challenge is ignored or bypassed, the court is acting unlawfully and violating due process.
There you go.
What actually happens? Most courts ignore jurisdictional challenges and continue moving forward without proving jurisdiction.
This is railroading and kangaroo court.
Principles and is used to maintain control even when jurisdiction is questionable or non-existent. If a court refuses to stop proceedings after a jurisdictional challenge has been submitted, there are legal remedies to enforce compliance. Compliance. Heavy checkmark file an emergency stay in a higher court, district, or appellate to halt all lower court actions. Heavy checkmark petition for a writ of mandamus, which legally compels the court to follow due process. Heavy checkmark file a federal civil rights lawsuit under 42 U.S.C. section 1983, citing due process violations for proceeding without proving jurisdiction. Heavy checkmark notify the U.S. Attorney General, DOJ, and the Office of the Inspector General, OIG, about the misconduct. Heavy checkmark use removal to federal court, 28 U.S.C. sections 1441, 1443, or 1446, if constitutional rights are at stake. Courts rely on people not knowing how to challenge them, which is why they often get away with ignoring the rules. Knowing how to enforce jurisdictional law is critical when facing a court that refuses to follow proper procedures.
All right. There you have it. You are not completely without remedy here. But they're going to try to make it difficult. They want to railroad people as quickly as possible. Then they got you in the system, part of their money-making machine. It's a scam. Keep in mind that these courts are considered international and they're foreign to the United States of America. They are not American courts. But let me say this carefully so you guys understand, for the naysayers. These courts can operate under the United States of America or the United States Maritime Admiralty, their own private PMA, private or public, well, in this case, private members association. So understand, look at it like this. In your own house, you have your jurisdiction, but if grandma or grandpa come over, they kind of supersede your jurisdiction. That is if you were raised right. So the courts have the same thing going on. They are subservient to the United States of America, but when that has not been invoked properly on the record, then it's a private matter amongst U.S. citizens that they're allowed to administer over. And that's essentially what happened to this particular person. They were aggravated because of us getting the primary charge dropped, which then makes everything else null and void. But instead of that, they decided to try to make an example, also because this person has a fiery mouth, out of the scenario. So these people will play games and they will be petty. So there's a certain way that you need to deal with them. So in understanding what I just said, these courts can operate in two jurisdictions, one amongst themselves as U.S. citizens and public officers and trustees, their own inner bar member association. And the other one is the outer, which is the United States of America, common law, on the record, jure. They don't like this one. Generally, you're going to see this one, and it's going to be represented with the movable American flag. Let me say this correctly, the U.S. flag with the gold fringes. Different dimensions, slightly different coloring, gold or yellow fringes on it. Now, here's one of the things that I may not have mentioned, and it's only came to me a little while ago when I was trying to tie in that the courts, these lower courts, are tribunal courts, meaning military, maritime, admiralty. And people have been arguing, trying to argue with me over this, and it was staring me right in my face the entire time. The showstopper, the coup d'etat. The only There's only like maybe 4 sections where they talk about or address the gold or yellow fringes on this United States corporate flag. And that's under AR 840-10. AR stands for Army Regulation. So here's the thing. If the Army can regulate the usage of something, it means they own it. Shazam. So if the Army has a regulation on the use of it, where it can and cannot be displayed, how it is to be displayed, then they own it. Now, some would argue is the Army American. Well, they are in their own jurisdiction, but they're in the American family. If I'm friends with, I don't know, the Johnson's family, I'm a member of the Johnson's family, like the Army is a member of the United States of America. By blood, I am not a Johnson, but I'm a member of their family. I'm within the umbrella of their jurisdiction, but I'm my own thing. I'm still a Lovett. So that's how we're getting played. That's why these agencies and whatever else have their own little bubble where they are the law. It's no different than one of these. No, let me not say it that way. One of these priests do naughty things and they're not jailed because they're operating in their own jurisdiction. You see it now? So each one of these things are operating in their own business bubble, and you can only administer over what's yours or what is registered to you. So if the army has the ability to regulate the usage of the gold or yellow fringed flag, I call it the gold fringed flag, because that's how I was told by a army person who was higher up and gave me certain information, we'll just say. It's kind of interesting how the fringed flag has gold on three sides, kind of like how the District of Columbia, where the United States Corporation is located, has America on three sides. It's almost like there's some symbolism there. It's almost like the District of Columbia is surrounded by the gold streets of America, the gold opportunity. Interesting. You do know these people work in symbolism, right? So if that's the case, then in fact, Army Regulation 840-10, use of the gold fringe flag, then means that that flag that looks like it's American has the fringe on it inside of a courtroom is in fact a different jurisdiction, but in the same family. And it is an army tribunal that these courts are operating in. But, and that's inside. They can also then operate under the United States of America. But if they were going to be following correct protocol, they cannot have their flag in there while doing American things. They can have the American flag in there while doing American things and dealing with their own stuff. But generally, the flag should be, by proper protocol, removed and one or the other in there, depending on what's transpiring. But the American flag, because it overstands all of it, the American flag can be there while doing either or. But by protocol, the fringed flag cannot be there when doing American things. This is one of the reasons why they removed the American flag out of the school systems, because the school systems all went into maritime jurisdiction. Use of the flag indoor for maritime use. You will never see the not when if the protocol is being done properly, the gold fringe flag outside on the flagpole. It can't. Those are different jurisdictions. I digress. Let's take a look at and listen to what Chat GPT has pulled up in regards to what we're just not the flag part. We're going to leave that alone for now. Just want to put it out there for the peeps. Hopefully everybody is doing well out there. Just know I appreciate you guys. Okay, that was the challenge I did before. Oh man, did I do it on this computer? Probably. Okay. So, let's jump over here. How to force the court to address jurisdiction. Okay. So let's listen to what it has to say.
Forcing a court to address jurisdiction requires a strategic approach. Here's what you need to do. 1. File a motion to dismiss for lack of jurisdiction. Courts must have both subject matter jurisdiction, authority over the type of case, and personal jurisdiction, authority over the person. If you believe the court lacks jurisdiction, file a motion to dismiss under Rule 12(b)(1), lack of subject matter jurisdiction, or Rule 12(b)(2), lack of personal jurisdiction, of the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure, or the equivalent state rule. Clearly state why the court lacks jurisdiction and include supporting case law. 2. Demand the court address jurisdiction first. Jurisdiction is a threshold issue. The court must resolve it before proceeding. If the court attempts to move forward without addressing it, object on the record and demand a ruling on jurisdiction before engaging in any further proceedings. 3. Challenge jurisdiction in every filing and appearance. If the court refuses to rule, do not waive the issue by participating in proceedings as if jurisdiction exists. Reiterate your jurisdictional objection in all filings, and when appearing in court, state clearly that you are specially appearing only to contest jurisdiction, not voluntarily submitting to it. 4. Use case law and constitutional arguments. Depending on the type of case, cite Supreme Court rulings or constitutional provisions to argue the limits of the court's jurisdiction. Example: Penhoyer v. Neff, 1877, and International Shoe Company via Washington, 1945, define personal jurisdiction standards. 5. File a writ of mandamus, if necessary. If the court refuses to rule on jurisdiction, file a writ of mandamus in a higher court, compelling the lower court to address the issue. 6. Do not accidentally consent to jurisdiction. Avoid signing documents or making statements that could be interpreted as voluntary acceptance of jurisdiction. Stay consistent in your objections. Would you like assistance drafting a motion or objection?
All right. So as you see here, ChatGPT is a very invaluable tool. It will even help you to draft a motion or an objection. Stop paying these lawyers and attorneys so much money and do it yourself. The power of this nation has been bestowed upon each and every one of you guys by the grace of God and the powers that be. We have the power. Do I have to go get my He-Man sword? You guys, do you understand? No, excuse me. Do you overstand? See, when you use the word understand, you're standing underwater and they can't hear you. You're standing understand. You're under the stand, you're standing under their authority. I overstand. Do you overstand that when you contract with a lawyer, attorney, whoever else, whatever, you're waiving your rights. You've informed them that you are incompetent. They have then taken possession of you as a dead entity. They will then speak on your behalf. They will then speak on behalf of the dead. For those people who asked me a little while ago, they said they thought they'd seen some new arrivals. Yes, you're correct. This is a partial installment of the American jurisprudence books of American law, the law, superior law, all these other things, these statutes and codes that the states do, police officers do. That's all their stuff privately, but it's so big, it's called the public. And we've been using this on a daily basis instead of constitutional, American law. You need to learn to operate. You need to learn first who and what you are. Then you need to learn the differences in the jurisdictions and which one you want to use and how to not play in one or the other as you see fit. Now, this isn't like when we were kids, you can mess around in one and then run back to the your porch and be like, nah, I'm safe over here. Because if you mess around in their world or you do something criminal, you're allowing them to pull you into their jurisdiction. You've done damage to one of their people or their property, then that means you're not operating as a non-belligerent and a non-combatant, but in fact a belligerent and a combatant. And then you've given them jurisdiction to a certain degree. You still have constitutional rights. Everything that we deal with here, constitutional rights, private law, contract law, okay? Their public law, statutes, corporate, de facto, U.S. citizen, international, legally. Did you guys see the video I made on the FARA, Foreign Agent Registration Act? Look it up. Go read it. Ask Google. Ask ChatGPT. Do you guys think, do you guys really think that these people are really on your side? Do you? Even though they're fellow Americans, but wait, there's more. When they're in office, they no longer are an American. They're operating as a U.S. citizen, a member of the family, but they are, in fact, international foreign agents doing international for-profit business. And you have been reduced to being a U.S. citizen when, in fact, you have both. Still don't understand why. Well, let me tell you. I'll tell you this. I'll be honest with you guys. I do get messages from certain agents, we'll say, and I know they watch my channel. I know the Department of State and various law enforcement and Cornell Law EDU and some other ones I won't mention here. I know you guys watch my videos. You don't think I hear these things? You don't think I get a heads up? Do you think everything is kept in violet, shall we say? In the spectrum where you can't see or barely can see? These people are doing duties for a different jurisdiction that's operating over the very same geographical land that we utilize. There's a difference between Illinois state and the state of Illinois. Those are two separate things. They work together. They play nice in the sandbox. It's beneficial. And for some of you guys out there who don't understand, overstand this information, because I guess you understand it, but you don't overstand it, look up the code. Are you both a national or a state citizen and a U.S. citizen at the same time? Yes. 8 U.S.C. 1401. Look up the federal code on Cornell Law EDU. It'll tell you citizens and nationals at birth. You get both. But you were private. You were a living thing before you were made a legal person by name. By law, you had it waiting there for you. They brought you into it. The moment that they told you, and I guarantee you 100% or 99.9% of everybody who watches this, you're obviously intelligent if you're watching this. That's all I'm going to say. Or interesting. 8 U.S.C. 1101, 22, A and B, Cornell Law, EDU, Federal Code. All U.S. citizens are U.S. nationals, but not all U.S. nationals are U.S. citizens. Eight, FAM, 505.1, or is it point two? 505.2. Passport endorsements, 09 code. Well, it used to say state citizen, but now it says U.S. national, national of the United States, non-citizen U.S. national. 8 FAM 300.1 301.1. There is a difference between nationality and citizenship. Other places, they are synonymous. They mean the same thing, but not here. They are different. If you were born in Florida, you're a Floridian. That is your national standing, excuse me. Floridian is different than a U.S. citizen, but you get both. So you're a U.S. citizen and you're a Floridian. You're also a national, which means you belong to the pool of all of us as Americans together. You can be just to your state, or you can be all together with us, or all of those things. The law states you can have access to all of those things. An individual state citizen, a group national, and a U.S. citizen. You can be a federal citizen. You have access to all of them. The reason why you police officers, you law enforcement, you judges, you postal workers, and whoever else, because I know you guys watch my videos as well, some of you scoffing, but that's okay. We're going to re-educate you. We're going to bring you back to America. It's okay. The reason why you don't know about these things is because you're not supposed to. When you signed your paperwork, you told them you were a U.S. citizen. You didn't say that you were a Floridian or a Kentuckian, Arkansan, or whatever else. So they said you are one of us, a member of the DC corporation. When you're in that capacity, you are that person. Person generally means, especially within the sandbox or their jurisdiction, a non-living entity or a trustee of the District of Columbia. Location of the debtor, UCC 9-307, letter H. How can the entire United States be in the District of Columbia? Don't take my word for it. Look it up. Cornell Law, EDU. Location of the debtor, letter H. Run it through Google or ChatGPT. UCC 9-307, letter H, location of the debtor. How can the entire United States be in the District of Columbia? Unless it's a corporation. Then it's just that entity with the same or similar sounding name as United States of America. When I talk about the United States of America, I'm talking about the fact that the United States word on the legal level has multiple definitions. One is the corporation, one is the body politic, and the other one is the geographical United States, which means United States of America. Get it yet? Oh, don't worry. Either you need to talk to your commanding officers or your directors privately behind the closed door. Yeah. Oh, wait, you thought I just learned all of this? You didn't know that some of these chiefs of police, I have their number in my phone. Some of them will talk privately. You thought some of your board members for the city of whatever, you you thought they didn't know this? Oh, they absolutely do know this. They just don't want you guys to know it. So do your job, keep your head down, and much like my friend, uh, we'll say friends that work in various things, don't ask too many questions. Asking questions gets you fired. Ask Sherry Peel Jackson. She's living out of the country right now. Used to work for the IRS. Asks too many questions. Be a good little drone. Do your job. Do you want to keep your job? You want to keep your paycheck? See, for the regular people out there, you guys don't understand this, but for the few brave officers who do come to me, I give them the truth. I tell them I've solved tons of problems for police officers in the private. because I believe in America. And even though they're operating as somebody who's foreign and against some of this information, they still are Americans, and I believe in that part of them. And so my neighbor is a retired cop. My nephew's wife is a retired cop. One of my good friends, well, actually, I have two friends whose names are Mike. One more of a friend than the other, but whatever. And they're both cops. The city I live in, I've got the chief of police cell phone number in my phone right now. They're not all bad people. They just don't know, and they're working on a belief system. They're playing Monopoly in the real world, and they think that they understand what's going on. But as we've seen certain things being peeled back, this is the age of truth. And mark my words, Bell has been wrong. Light will be cast in all the darkest places. Let's watch them all run from not the Badwolf. I'm just one man. But you guys are the bad wolves. Let's see how fast they run when the wolf pack, or should I say the pack of wolves, aka the Americans, find out what's really going on. As I believe it was George Bush was senior was quoted as saying, "When the American people find out what we've done to them, they're going to tar and feather us." Oh, Georgie boy, it might be worse than that, educationally speaking. You guys have yourself a great day. Thank you for supporting and sharing. You guys see anybody using any of my videos of me inappropriately, reports from defamation of character, slander, and all that good jazz? Because we Americans are waking up. In whatever form our enemies take, whether foreign or domestic, Bell has been wrong.